Welcome everybody back to Comics Kings. This is Brandon.
This is Bryce.
This is weekly wrap up. You guys can catch the live show every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, where we talk about new comics, what we read this past week as we recap, review them, and we just have a good time talking about comics. If you guys watched Black Widow, let us know your thoughts, because we will be talking about that momentarily. But Bryce, how are you doing today, brother?
Doing good, man. Hate that I had to miss last week, but got scheduled late night at work, and it was just a whole mess. They usually don't schedule me, but back now. Glad to be back and excited to talk about some books I read this week and a couple from last week.
Yeah, exactly. We did take a break last week. I know you were scheduled to work, and then I didn't find a co-host. Nor what happened. I was working as well. I was doing something, and I went to see Black Widow last week. So there was that.
I just saw it. I just got out of it like 2 hours ago, maybe an hour and a half ago.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess you have a lot of things to say about it now, but big shout out to the chat for coming in tonight. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, because there's a lot going on in Comics Kings. I'm venturing out to be doing other content as well on TikTok with Instagram and the Reels, more stuff with IGTV. That I think has been really well received. So you guys can find me everywhere. You can find Bryce always with me, but you can find him also at Hillbilly Comics. The links are in the description below for everything. What's up, Rudy? Just highlighted his comment. What is up, Travis? How are you doing?
Up, Travis, Rudy.
We have Sheena in here.
Sheena, I love her.
We have Sean, Stay Puffy. What is going on, man? We have Caroline. How are you doing?
What's up, Caroline?
We have the Low Grade Heroes. How are you doing? What's up, Ross? How are you doing, brother? Your wife and I love Black Widow, and yes, make sure you guys do hit the thumbs up button if you like what you, or if you like who's behind me. If you like who's behind me, because you can't go wrong with that either way. Natasha Romanoff or Scarlett Johansson,
and Florence Pugh. I mean,
Florence Pugh, man, Florence Pugh. We will get into that.
Or David Harbour, if you're into that.
Right. Or David Harbour, yeah.
David Harbour, man. Don't be selling him short.
Right. Don't be selling. David Harbour had a great role in the movie. Again, we're going to be talking about this at length lately. I do also want to take care of a few house cleaning projects this Wednesday, or before this Wednesday. So, Guy Gardner's Instagram. Yes, Bryce's Instagram, Hillbilly Comics. He's also going to be dropping a lot of unboxings that he's getting from Organic Price Books, as long as some book reviews that Bryce has been reading.
I'm working on Captain America by Ed Brubaker currently, and that'll probably be I'm trying to think if I should do it by volume or if I should just do the whole omnibus as a review.
It's up to you, man, because the whole omnibus could be a great kind of recapping where you started, where you finished.
Yeah, for sure.
So you can definitely do that. I did that with Harley Quinn from New 52 when I first started it. Definitely that's a great way to do a review, is start to finish what you did there. But I will
say though, if you haven't read Captain America by Ed Brubaker, read it.
It's great. It is fantastic. It is one of the better books in the modern era. I think one of the better character studies of the Captain America mythos that is very expansive as well. And it's very in tune with current events today. So if you want a book that really speaks to you as a person and how you want to look at life, or how you want to look at people and how you deal with everyday scenarios, that book is definitely there. It speaks on a lot of real issues. Bobby DeLaGhetto.
Yeah, and if you like the way that Black Widow was portrayed in the Winter Soldier movie, you get a lot of that, except it's more so Sharon Carter that plays the Natasha role.
Right.
But the role is still there. If you love that role, it is still there.
Right. But she is I'm not going to spoil it for you, but her role is so it's a trip. Her role is a trip and a roller coaster that I think is a great experience to read. Even if you're not a Sharon Carter fan, the psychedelics that she's gone through in that book is very it's very thought provoking, I'm going to say. Yeah. But big shout out to everybody here. I do invite you guys to drop a comment, leave your thoughts of Black Widow, or leave a comment or question for us to kind of drive today's conversation. I know on Saturday, tomorrow I don't know what I'm doing. Sunday I don't know what I'm doing. Monday, I'm having surgery, so I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be on Instagram. I might, depending on how I feel. It's an early morning surgery, so
I can just see you going live from the operating table.
You know what? I just might.
They go to put the anesthesia in you. It's like, no, hang on. What's up, everybody? This is Brandon
from Comics Kings. Yeah, I could see myself doing that as well, but I know I haven't really been public about the surgery, but it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna be back to normal because I am gonna be live with Jen over here. I believe 8 Eastern time here or 9 Eastern time here, talking about crossover. So we're gonna be doing our indie deep dives with crossovers. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
I have to work during that.
Yeah, but there's always the replay. So if you are catching the replay, leave a comment too. Good little segue for that. And on Wednesday, John Amita Jr. will be here, which is going to be fantastic. That is going to be 3 p.m. Eastern time. So after you get your new comics, you can just watch me and John Amita talk about what he's going to be doing in Fantastic Four as the new tenured artist, as well as the history of comics. Because
I did not know he was the new tenured artist on FF.
Yeah, he is. But
him and Dan
Slott are doing like the arc right after the Wedding of Doom, which is great.
Freaking crap!
What's going on, Johnny boy? What's going on, sir? I love that icon. And we got Flash by Night in here. What's going on to you, sir? Hope you guys are doing well. Travis said, I enjoyed Black Widow. If you just go in and enjoy it as a solo movie for Black Widow and put aside everything else in the MCU, yeah, I can attest to that.
You could say that about a few MCU movies, though.
I could say that about Ant-Man, but
Ant-Man?
What's up, Lyra? How you doing, bud?
Honestly, I could say that about Winter Soldier. Like, it fits really well if you just watch the Captain America trilogy, and it doesn't really affect a whole lot in the MCU other than what happens with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Civil War or anything that changes everything going forward.
No, but again, we're going to save this conversation for Black Widow in a little bit. Let's get into the books. I do want to start with a book that came out last week. I do want to start with X-Men number 1 by the new creative team of Jerry Dugan and Pepe Larraz. Colors, I do want to mention the colors because Marte Gracia has been such an important part of the industry today. He's been everywhere and anywhere. And his color has been fantastic. You guys already know I got the Polaris cover because wifey alert.
I need to go back and get the Rogue cover.
Yes. What's up, Fable? I was just live with Fable and Missing Link and joined by someone named Justin, No Good Comics. That was a great conversation we had. Definitely got to know them a little bit better, and that was just fun altogether. So check out Fable's Instagram. He just posted it. So if I can get a healthy blue wrencher in the chat right now to drop that link for everybody, that'd be great as well. Yes, X-Men number 1 was amazing.
It was fantastic.
And this book was very simple. It was nothing crazy. It was nothing like, it really took me back personally as a reader to Chris Claremont and Jim Lee's X-Men number 1, where it didn't go crazy over the top. It was, this is the new team and this is how we're going to work together. This is how we're going to deal with everything. The X-Men did create a little treehouse right in the middle of Central Park, which is cool. If you guys are not reading this, the team is Cyclops, Jean Grey, Sunfire, Cinch, all new Wolverine, who Laura Kinney, badass, 100%, Polaris, wifey, and Rogue. His wifey. But yeah, that is Fable's Instagram.
Rogue or Jean?
Rogue or Jean, yeah. I'm a Jean person too.
My hesitancy with Jean, though, is that she can just snap at any minute.
Exactly. You know, at least Polaris will send some metal at me before, like, I mean, I already have metal in my hips, so I guess she can control the way my hips move.
Yeah, and at least Rogue will call me sugar before she kills me.
Right? There are just so many good things going for this right now. But yeah, we're dealing with the new treehouse. We get the tour. As we're going in the tour, we're meeting the team, and we're kind of exploring what's going on. There's a kind of an alien attack in the middle of New York. So this is much like an Avengers type feeling where they want you to feel good about this team. They want them to be the heroes of not only Earth, but not only of like Krakoa, but of Earth. There's a reason why we haven't seen a team for so long is because now Hickman has the necessary needs for a team in his next plot. So I think that Inferno is not only just going to be related to Krakoa, but to what's going on with Arakko and Mars and everything. So there's that to look forward to. And the team really comes together. They kind of come in with this pose, like a giant size X-Men pose, to start out with, and they build this giant robot, which was cool. You know, you had Cyclops on the eyes. Polaris built the damn thing. Sync is adapting it. Storm is able to Jean is able to control the way it's moving. Everyone's playing their part, and they defeat the alien.
Sunfire's got the Havoc chest ray almost.
Yeah. And then there's Wolverine, who comes in for the final blow, which was fantastic. This does, however, lead us into a kind of a subplot of a character that we have not seen in a while in the X-Men, kind of coming alive from states who said he's been in for a few years. So that's going to be a moving factor going forward. I don't want to spoil who it is, because if you haven't read it already, I do want you guys to check it out and definitely get that heartwarming feeling that I did, to say the least, about this team. So,
oh yeah, and that's honestly, X-Men has been kind of, the only word to describe it is epic the past 2 years.
epic.
It has been straight up world building for 2 years, and with the vision Hickman has, you needed that.
Right.
But it feels so good to just get back to the X-Men while you still have that world building going on with Inferno. I'm sure you're going to have some more of it with Trial of Magneto. Things are going on there. You've got other X books like Sword, and some of the founding ones, like probably Excalibur, is still going.
Right. Excalibur is still very much involved in what's going on. X-Force is still kicking heavy. You have Hellions that's becoming a kind of more of an intricate story in there, and Mutants is dealing with a lot of things as well. So with the X-Men, and then of course Marauders.
Cult books.
Yeah.
Hellions is definitely going to be a cult book that people talk about for a while.
Rally behind if it gets canceled. If Hellions ever gets canceled, I think that's the one people will be most vocal about. Yeah. Just because of how much of a fan base it's drawing and how vocal they are about it. What's up, aggressively relaxing? What's going on, man?
Same thing with Sword. More people were jumping onto Sword every day.
Right. That's because Sword is also more it's more. It's with X-Men, but it's more so with Al Ewing. It's more whatever Al Ewing wants.
I
feel like Al Ewing struck a deal saying she's gonna do this, but I'm focused on what's going on.
But yeah,
shit. But look for Sword to tie into Venom. That's all I'm gonna say.
With X-Men, it's just, this is what we needed. This is what we were missing. And if this is going to be the flagship book moving forward with Hickman doing his thing in miniseries, I'm down. Totally.
Right.
And I'll wait for issue 2.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I'm excited for this. Oh, we got Fit to be Read in here watching with his kids. What?
Nice.
Dude, Fit. Boom.
It's worth
it. Dude, Gambit's Charge Tarot cards is the best thing that happened this week. I would say that, or the Gambit Express. I would say those two are right there. But
where was Gambit? Was that in Way of X?
That was in Excalibur from this
Excalibur.
week.
Shoot, yeah. I haven't been reading Excalibur, but I mean keeping up with it a little bit here and there.
We might as well just jump into the X books while we're at it. While we're already on the subject of X-Men, I don't want to kind of divert from that, because I know a lot of people who are not on the X-Men train are finding it very intimidating to jump on. But if you really look at how people read comics back in the day, and even how many of us started, it was in dollar bins and with the characters that we liked. So if you have an X-Men character that you like, pick up the book they're in, and you can always use your friends to help fill in the gaps, and kind of just put the pieces together. I always feel like is very exciting as a reader. So don't be intimidated by something new. That's all I'm gonna say. Ryan, I'm talking to you.
Hey, I'll hand it to Ryan. When I started watching him and keeping up with yours and his content, he was primarily a DC head.
Right. Now he's diving into Daredevil.
He is dove head first into Daredevil.
Right. We all lived the X2 movie. You know what's going on. Cyclops sucks. I should shut up. But yeah, Excalibur number 22 came out this week by Teeny Howard and Marcus Toe. We're dealing with the chaos that came out of the Coven Akabi. That is the cultist group that unbefriended Betsy Braddock after she became Captain Britain. They kind of disbarred her from being like kind of the connection between Britain and Otherworld. But the gate, she still has access to the gate. So there's always been like that kind of a conflict. But now that Morgan Le Fay got reborn due to the sacrifice of Pete Wisdom at the end of the gala, we're dealing with her who took over Avalon, and that has thrown Otherworld kind of into a little bit of a mess. We see Beast and Excalibur kind of looking at this artifact, remember in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when they were putting that Asgardian sword together, boom, and they touch it, turn them into fear. Yeah, this is kind of that, where they're kind of looking at artifacts. Not to turn them into fear, but we don't know what it's for yet. No. We don't know what it's for. We just know Beast wants to use it. So I guess X-Force and Excalibur are talking to each other. Cool. This bounty hunter...
Beast needs to chill.
Yeah, Beast needs to chill.
Beast needs to chill.
Beast has done too much and needs to just...
Oh my gosh, you almost ruined the gala.
Oh, yeah, Beast ruined the gala for like half the population. If your name was not Eminem, Elton John, or Kevin Feige, the gala was ruined for people.
Well, Emma Frost kind of put a stop to it, but she didn't really. It didn't get ruined for her per se.
Comic Talk Weekly is in here. Wait, that's not Comic Talk. Hey, that's Sheena. That's my BFF. Right
Sheena,
there.
Yeah. What's up,
we got Phil. What's going on, Phil? How are you doing, brother? We got Brother Joe in here as well. How are you doing? I've always been a huge DC guy. I see people talking about them all the time. Marvel. About these Marvel Easter eggs. I never catch any of them in the shows. Because people look for those Easter eggs because I feel people who are looking for the Easter eggs are looking for something to sell. That's it. That's really it.
Or you have those people on YouTube that just have their videos monetized and are like 25 Easter eggs you missed in the Loki finale.
Right. But anyway, this bounty hunter who don't like them being in this part of Otherworld it tries to shoot them. Gambit uses his car. Gambit gets a lot of attention here. So if you're a Gambit fan, this issue's for you. 100% read it, pick it up. Because everything I said previously is what you kind of want to know. Is Otherworld is in shit right now. It's in hell. It went to hell and back. But so we're dealing with that, and we transition over into a meeting with Saturnine's Kingdom. But before that, Pete Wisdom gets resurrected, and Morgan Braddock is there to help him out. So Saturnine is hosting this meeting because she is the leader of Otherworld. She is like top dog. And then Betsy's there, obviously, for support. And then the other leaders who each have their own kingdoms in Otherworld, who have access to Otherworld. So you have Araco, you have a couple other people in there that I'm not as familiar with, but
so Saturnine, that was Ten of Swords, right?
Saturnine was Ten of Swords. Good, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Saturnine was
all that, but
the Emma Frost looking chick at Ten of Swords.
Okay, yeah. I know you're talking about now.
Right. So we're dealing with that, and Merlin comes in, who is previously the top dog of Avalon. And he doesn't like that Avalon got taken over, right? And Merlin was the top dog of Otherworld, not Avalon. He's mad that Saturnine let Avalon get taken over by Morgan Le Fay and was not on top of everything. But he's basically declaring war on mutants and Saturnine. So that activates Betsy to kind of team up with Saturnine and send her Excalibur team in to Merlin's kingdom and investigate. Merlin obviously finds them, and they have to and they have to go out. What Aggressively Relaxed was talking about earlier with Gambit, who kind of stole her tarot cards, Saturnine's tarot cards, to break down the door. And it was like so dope because the tarot card was like wheel of something, and it depicted a cool little picture, and it's just totally Gambit.
Oh yeah.
But they escape going down. They were at the top of the tower, and Richter just brings them straight to the bottom to like this express, like Shazam Express, kind of. That's what I thought. And Gambit uses powers to activate it, and that's that. And we're kind of gearing up Pete Wisdom assembles his strike team. If you are a classic reader of Excalibur, you will kind of understand that. But it is new to a lot of people, myself included. So I'm kind of excited to learn about this, and I'm glad that it's being introduced this way very lightly. And then Arthur is back. So Merlin, he puts his like memory into Arthur and brings him like back online, I should say, but it's more of a person. And so we're gearing up for a war on Otherworld. So keep in mind, mutants cannot die on Otherworld. So Betsy has to be very careful. So that's all I'm going to say. Our art was fantastic.
Interesting.
The art was fantastic, and it was
Just
by
Marcus Toe?
Marcus Toe, friend of the show. So yeah, aggressively acting also says X-Men right now is a special thing in pop culture because it's everything. It's everything in the story. It's the world of no limits. Also has huge weight on the history, and the writers making it look natural. Well said. Nothing that I can't add to, but
everything matters. Yeah, everything matters in X-Men.
Yeah. So the history behind
You're thinking of Ultimate Nick Fury.
Yeah, so Nick Fury was African American in the Ultimate Universe and depicted Samuel Jackson, and he actually hit up Marvel and said, "Hey, I want to be Nick Fury in the movie," and they said, "Yeah, you already look like him." And the Ultimate Universe, Nick Fury anyway. Yeah, so Secret Wars kind of kept everything in the Ultimate Universe that they wanted and casted away everything they didn't want. Nick Fury is one of the things that people wanted to keep, so the white Nick Fury became like a clone that was like Hydra-esque. If you read Secret Warriors by Ed Brubaker, actually did it and recommended it volume 1 of it. So that was kind of like a hand-in-hand pass off.
But if you read anything up until the merging of 616 and the Ultimate Universe, which I think is 1610,
right?
Then yeah, Nick Fury's a white guy in the continuity, and he kind of looks like David Hasselhoff.
Yeah. Oh, we got Dank in here. What's going on, brother? What's going on to Dank? Dank has been doing big things on YouTube. He is being heavily involved. If one of my trusty moderators, TM, where you at? Drop his link below.
Drop Dank's link, man.
So definitely hit up Dank's content for a lot of fun content. Dank is a really cool character. Not character, like his personality is much of a character. So
he's definitely a character, but in the best ways possible.
Yeah, he is like the best head in the comic community. Like shines right through the screen.
And I don't let Rod hear you.
Don't let Rod hear me. Damn. Missing link. Secret Warriors was Jonathan Hickman. Secret Avengers. I'm sorry. Secret Warriors with Jonathan Hickman, which was also a great book that you guys should all read. It was his first title in Marvel. So.
Which that was the book that you just got finished reading, I think. So that's where that came from. How was it? Good? It was good?
Oh, I loved it. It was the plot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., essentially. But Bryce, you read some books, right? You had to read. Come on.
I read a few books. Black Widow was a little longer than I expected, so I didn't get to read a whole lot of everything. But I had a book from last week that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, and if you guys are ever looking for book recommendations, hit us up. Sure. You can hit us up. Our IG links are in the description below, or if you want to reach out through YouTube, we'll figure it out.
Michael, man, appreciate you taking the time to read that. I thought you would enjoy it. That is probably my favorite comic series of all time. So I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Right.
But speaking of Image Comics, you guys know if you've been watching this show for any period of time, I'm a huge fan of Kyle Higgins' Radiant Black. Massive fan. Brandon, I know.
Trade. I'm reading it in trade.
I know you're going to read it in trade, but still, when I heard Kyle Higgins was coming out with another Image book, especially with like a high fantasy mythological concept, I knew I had to pick it up. So I grabbed Ordinary Gods last week. And this book was honestly, of course it was a lot of setup, but it was fantastic. The world building and the backstory and the history of these 13 gods was just unreal. And the way they tied it all into the present day, it's a little bit of a stretch at first, but it makes sense. I'm really interested to see how this is going to turn out. I know our buddy Peter loved it.
Yes.
I didn't like it as much as Radiant Black, but I'm also kind of on an Invincible hype right now, and Radiant Black reminds me a lot of Invincible.
Yeah, but it's like Power Rangers mixed with a little bit of a Robert Kirkman-esque.
Exactly.
From Brandon, I did tell the guy the story. You're interested in Rom V, just spelled with a singular V, like the Roman numeral, or just the letter V. What am I doing? So you'll get to those two. Yeah, definitely. I'm always pushing Justice League Dark that Rom V did. Always check his Swamp Thing is also a great spot for newer readers who also
actually halfway over.
Yeah, but Swamp Thing also wants you to like miss Vertigo. I think that's what Romby really wants you to do is miss Vertigo, and I'm really understanding that from his stories lately. We got Goonie Geek in here, my brother. What is going on? And
give it a few more months. Give it a few more months for the trade to come out, and then get the many deaths of Layla Starr.
Well, I never said Kyle Higgins wasn't that good. I said his Nightwing wasn't that good, and personally, his Winter Soldier was fine. Wasn't anything special. I've never read his Power Rangers. I'm not a Power Rangers guy.
I'm not either.
But I know a lot of people are starting to dig his indie work, and I'm glad he has that career setting. It's just he wasn't the nicest person when I met him at a con, so I don't support his work. It's just that simple.
I mean, I'm going to go meet him and get some Radiant Black signed here in a few weeks. I'm going to get this book signed. And who knows? Maybe he's changed.
Right. I mean, maybe, but I'm gonna give Radiant Black a try. I'm not like totally denying. I'm just not gonna subscribe to his titles. It's just there are better. There are a lot of creators that I've personally like met and interacted with, had the pleasure of interacting with, and he's the only bad experience. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. I would appreciate that. I really would. But, I know a lot of people do like Kyle Higgins, but I don't think his writing style he's not really done anything that has really spoken to me yet. That's really the biggest thing too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to checking out his Nightwing. I've heard it's one of the better runs of the past.
No, it's not.
15 years, but
I would have him on the show. I would have Kyle Higgins on the show. I would even have Nick Spencer on the show. Because it's always good to have like that other viewpoint.
For sure.
And I know that I've been very outspoken that I don't like Nick Spencer's Spider-Man, but it's there. Oh, and we were going to talk about X-Men. That's what we were doing. Way of X.
You cut me off with Ordinary Gods?
Oh, no, finish Ordinary Gods, but then we're going to go to Way of X.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Basically, there was this land that was divided into 13 factions, each ruled by a god, and it was kind of like a state of being that so you have like savagery, strength, inspiration, instinct, love, and they were each ruled by a god. Well, then they would have these revolutions, and they would always lose. But then you had 5 gods break off and start their own revolution.
So Olympus went rogue, essentially.
Basically, yeah. You had Olympus.
Oh, that's dope.
Olympus went rogue, and then it fast forwards to years and years in the future. You've got this dude named Christopher, who's sitting in therapy. He's basically he's borderline suicidal, but he keeps talking about his little sister, how he loves his little sister and his family. And yeah, it starts to be very much a family-oriented book. And then there are some reveals done throughout here that are set up earlier on in the issue. Like there's this whole test to see how godlike you are. That's based on these series of books that his little
Are
sister
you worthy?
Books.
What? Is he worthy? Are they worthy?
Are they what?
Worthy.
Oh, are they worthy?
Yeah, like worthy.
That is something I don't want to spoil in case you haven't read it yet.
Oh, so that's the question. Are they war the gods and are they worthy?
It's not exactly are they worthy. That's all I'll say. But basically, there's some twists along the way that I really wasn't expecting, and there's a huge reveal at the end that really sets up this world and our main character. And it's like if Olympus goes rogue, kind of mixed with like the crossover style, like the world of gods interacting with the world of men.
Okay, cool. I'll probably give it a read. I'll give it a read, maybe.
It's
I'll
very
probably
much
trade rate it.
if you're not like a Power Rangers guy and you don't like Radiant Black, definitely give Ordinary Gods a try.
I'll probably give it a read. But if you guys read it, I know a lot of people dug it, so definitely check it out if you want a fun little image book that kind of sounds like Jupiter's Legacy but on steroids. Because Jupiter's Legacy was horrible.
The book and the show.
The book and the show.
Really?
I didn't enjoy the book. Gabriel Torres was fine. It was more of like
Mark Millar do that?
Yeah, Mark Millar did it, but the way that they restructured the book and renumbered it was due to the Netflix show that failed on its face. So I don't know what Netflix is doing with Millar because he has a bunch of projects in the works right now.
Yeah, Kingsman was really successful too.
Yeah, but this was like his pinpoint breaking out. Like, this is Mark Millar. Here you go, and now we don't care. But so that was really I've yet to meet someone who enjoyed Jupiter's Legacy. So, what? 18 people here? Go for it. But Wave X, do you want to talk about it?
I did not get a chance to read it. It's actually
you did not get a chance. Okay, I will talk about it for a little bit. So this is by Cy Spurrier and Bob Quinn. So we are as we've been dealing with Nightcrawler trying to figure out a new religion. Dick Grayson's behind me. I'm always looking at Dick. I mean, Dick Grayson. That was not what I meant.
Kyle Higgins, and he had a Nightwing run, so it's easy to make the mistake.
Yeah, and he was a dick. He's always been dealing with trying to find this new religion. So he's been investigating the many questions of Krakoa and their new lifestyle. So this one is kind of he's talking about death here and what kind of death's okay. Are you allowed to kill people? If so, what's the case? We got Josh. We got Joshua in here. How are you doing?
What's going on?
So the Jupiter's Legacy flashbacks were so boring. I agree 100%.
So it's starting to go back to where it was in the first two issues.
Yeah, so we're revisiting that, but it's also expanding the Onslaught stuff that kind of came later on in the book. As you know, Onslaught has been kind of jumping into the hive of some people, but this story mainly takes place on Arakko, formerly known as Mars, and they really want you to know that. Like, if you didn't get it, you're getting it no matter what. If there's one thing to take away. Yeah, but if you didn't, they still want you to understand Arakko is now Mars. But so we're dealing with that, and we are on Arakko, and then when we go back to Earth, we're dealing with someone who recently killed humans, but was it for the right reason? And that's what Nightcrawler is really investigating, and we catch up with Fabian Cortez. If you've been reading Sword, so X-Men is really talking to each other now, which is great, because I love when comic books talk. We get a lot of moments with Dusk. Dust, yes, who is a Middle Eastern mutant who is fantastic. She was also in Exiles that Saladin Man did. I forget who did the art, but that was a good book as well. So we're dealing with that, and the whole stuff with Onslaught comes in is why am I drawing a blank now? It was when Legion is kind of investigating it with the other two Arakans that have kind of been dealing with Onslaught entering their minds as well, because Onslaught's kind of bouncing back and forth at this point. The art is fantastic by Bob Quinn, and what I don't want to spoil it, but we also get some moments at Gorgon as well with Fabian Cortez, and then the big reveal at the end and what they set up is something that is very near and dear to Nightcrawler, and he's going to really appreciate that Legion went out of his way to do, and he did that by combining the powers of these two Arakan mutants and then just shot it out. And it's drawn really well. I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but I do want you to take the time and read that and kind of digest the new kind of subsequent thing that is created, because mutants are all about creating new things, and this is definitely going to be a stepping stone for this book and for Nightcrawler's further agenda. The format of this book was easier to follow. There are characters that we're not as familiar with, but as long as you keep an open mind when you're reading this stuff, you're going to understand these characters and the language that they use. But yeah, it was great. It was great.
Way of X has been a fantastic series. I can't wait to really get into this issue. And isn't it ending after issue 5 and going into?
Yeah, it's like a mini series. It's a mini series. It's like an unannounced mini series. But it's going into another title that Simon Spurrier and Bob Quinn are also doing. So that's just going to further the narrative across books.
So it's basically 2 miniseries back to back.
Basically, but it's different titles. Next book that came out this week by the X-Men was X-Core number 3. I know you dropped it, but
I dropped it. Yeah, I wouldn't.
We may have to double check the solicitations. I'll double check the solicitations right after. I'm pretty sure it was a mini, but issue number 3 of X-Core. And as you can tell by the cover of this, I'm going to do something next week where I'm able to put the covers up here on the StreamYard as an overlay, just so you guys can see it as well. We're dealing with Multiple Man, and Multiple Man is the boss, and he's many people's bosses because he needs multiple men is the best way to put it. The art sucked. Well, no, the art didn't suck. It was just very weird. It was by Valentin Delandro, who's a ripoff David Aja. Cool. Great. We've seen that kind of art style before, so it's nothing new. It's nothing being brought to the book. But the whole plot is, they're farmers. This is their breakout thing after the gala, so they have to do something big, and they're launching something, literally launching something. Multiple Man's in charge, and it doesn't go as planned because they got for a whole pharmaceutical company with some of the brightest, the best and brightest of the mutant world when it comes to covering your ass, because that's what they've been doing this whole book. They leave themselves very vulnerable to be sabotaged, and that's what happens. So you're not missing much. A lot of people aren't reading this book. But yeah, the big reveal of what they were launching fell flat in his face because Multiple Man can be everywhere but where the breach happened, I guess. But I guess you were a little FOMO on that. But I'm picking it up because it's X-Men.
Yeah.
Primarily because it's X-Men.
Yeah.
Nothing else. No other reason. I have no interest in this book. I don't. I understand the need for it, but
did they at least touch any more on the Archangel threads from the last issue?
Yes and no. They were dealing with more of the side effects of some of these drugs that they're mass producing. So, or they're testing, they're testing the side effects of this drug that they do want to mass produce. John's Comics with Kids. Shouldn't you be on vacation,
up,
brother? You should be on vacation, man. But X-Core was better, but it was nothing that was jaw-dropping. It was nothing it's not like the other books where you read it and you think about it afterwards. Yeah. You're not thinking about what you're reading, but not
like this next book I'm about to
go talk about it. Talk about it all you want.
After 2 long months without this title, Marvel somehow survived for those 2 months without Thor.
Oh, I just got confirmation from Joelle Jones for an interview in 2022. Cool.
Dude, no way. Joelle Jones, nice.
2020. She's like, I'm booked for deadlines until 2022.
I'm actually going to meet her in a few weeks, too.
Tell her I said hi.
I will. It's hey, you just booked an interview with my co-host.
No, it's not booked.
I don't know. But yeah, nonetheless, Thor is finally back after 2 long months. We have a guest artist on this book. Let me find the guy's first name.
I wanted her on the show. I wanted Joelle Jones on the show, but she will. Come on.
In 2022. Hey, better late than never.
2022, we have a lot to look forward to.
But yeah, Michelle Bandini is your guest artist on Thor, and this is basically tying back to the first couple of issues.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah.
That deal with Mjolnir malfunctioning. And so that's basically the entire thing. He is sort of celebrating after where everybody else is celebrating defeating Donald Blake, whereas he's just kind of somber. He's just there, which if you know what he's been through the past few issues, you would understand why he's not too thrilled to celebrate. Well, hey, hope you've enjoyed it, man.
I hope you've been.
I've seen what you've been reading, and you have powered through some stuff.
It's so funny because John and I either have read or are reading the exact same books at the exact same time. So it's we've been chit-chatting throughout his whole vacation. But John, I'm so grateful that you're spending some of your vacation time with us.
He's having one to check out Gideon Falls now.
Yeah, but I'm waiting for the oversized hardcover
Yeah.
in the fall. I've already pre-ordered and everything, so I'm set with that. But we
Yeah,
were talking about
this was very much, don't want to call it an uneventful issue, but a very just kind of just kind of one of those filler stories that goes along with the overall arc of the run.
So it's cool. It's on
Yeah,
kids. It's cool.
Yeah, exactly. You get some Avengers in there. You know, Thor has a really cool meeting with Captain America, and Thor does something at the end that I know is not going to stick around, but however long it sticks around in this run, I'm really interested to see where this goes, because it could end up. I feel like it could go down a Daredevil path, like the current Daredevil run, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Where somebody else is kind of taking a certain spot for the time being. No idea who or if it'll even happen, but that's kind of what it leads to at the end of this issue.
Right.
But yeah, overall, great issue, especially coming off of the huge arc that was Prey. And definitely, like, it's just a 3-issue story. Something to just kind of move the story along with what Donny Cates has been doing. And yeah, Thor just continues to deliver, honestly.
Right. And I haven't read it yet, so I'm excited to dive into it. But those who have read Thor, I've heard it's just a continuation. So boom, there's that, and I'm excited. I'm excited to read it.
Hey, sometimes you just need continuations.
Right. I do want to talk about a book that kind of shocked me this week in how I don't want to say it was good. I don't want to say it was bad. It was good trash. It was good trash. It was going to be trash no matter what happened because of how convoluted the story is, but it was good for being trash.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I don't even know if that's English, but it's Sinister War #1 by what's his name? Nick Spencer and Mark Bagley. His inker did him no favors on this, but so if you remember, kind of before the Sins Rising arc, I believe it was either like right before or right at the end, one of the two, we had that little scene with Doctor Strange going to Mephisto, talking about how Peter Parker's soul has been missing or something, and he's able to foresee something. So we get that little head nod, which I think this was a good time to include that. There are a lot of things that started out great with this book, and there are a lot of things that did not work well. I think that this part was fine. You know, it was great. It was kind of footnoted, and it was also teased at the end. But then we see Mary Jane walking down the red carpet with her director, her producer, with everyone kind of getting the spotlight. I believe it was Oscar the Grouch said, "I love good trash." Yeah, great. Boom. I'm talking.
Definitely turns into Oscar the Grouch when talking about
like I
when talking about ASM. Brandon definitely turns into Oscar the Grouch. So
right. And if you guys know that MJ is back in the Spider-Man book, but she also had a moment, that same issue that we had that little tease with Doctor Strange and Mephisto, that she never told Peter about Mysterio also working with her on the movie that was produced to kind of bring back Mysterio's kind of a role, his roots, but also for him to go through a change. So but more so than Boomerang, because I think Nick Spencer wants to change a few characters, Boomerang being one of the ones he didn't care for at all. But Mysterio is someone that he wants to change because Mysterio is a character that was in a movie, and let's make him good now. But what I didn't like was there was no footnote saying read Amazing Mary Jane to see this happen, because I do think that you guys should. It was a great adventure. It was written by Leah Williams and Carlos Gomez did the art, who also did Spider-Man arc that was in the Chameleon Conspiracy. That was fine. But definitely go check it out. I made an Instagram post about it. It was fantastic, but also the Savage Six, who we haven't seen. This is where it gets stupid. The Savage Six I didn't like because we haven't seen them since the Kraven arc in the early parts of this run. So they're in it because, yes, Nick Spencer just expects us to understand that they're still lingering after the Kraven shit. I think shit's a good word for it. But They crash the party because they want they want to take it down, right? They want Spider-Man. And then the Sinister Six show up and they're like, wait, we want you to join us. He's like, but I'm trying to be good. And Mysterio takes MJ out of the scene. So MJ is safe and Spider-Man's left to deal with that. As he leaves the theater, we have Kindred showing up, which I get it. It's a Kindred. It's more Kindred because Nick Spencer's Kindred story fell ultimately flat on its face, and he's trying to bring it back, but it doesn't work. So that part got a little frustrating. The art's great. Mark Bagley made this very readable. I know I'm not talking about it as though it's readable, but it is.
How much good can you talk about trash, even if it's good trash?
Mark Bagley's art made it not trash. I believe if any other artist did it, we wouldn't be able to understand it. I'm just glad he's not in that stupid suit anymore.
I mean, I feel like if Gleason was on this book, he would.
Yeah, Gleason, yeah, but not Vincentini. No. Sorry, but then all the other villains show up that we've seen throughout Spider-Man, except for Boomerang. Oh wait, no, Boomerang is there. Boomerang's there, but we get this double-page spread where we see everyone.
Oh
and
my gosh!
Spidey in the middle, and it's all of them, guys. I could
but
totally see
this. Fantastic?
No, that's not Mr. Fantastic.
I swore that looked like Mr. Fantastic. Oh my god!
No, but yeah, we see everyone. And then we see Doctor Strange and Mephisto and Strange is trying to bargain for Parker's soul back so we can like do this whole Kraven shit. But I kind of enjoy this issue and the way that everything was brought in. I knew this book wasn't going to be able to breathe because Nick Spencer had to bring in every character, and who better to draw it than the one who has done it. But this is supposed to be Marvel's flagship character, and it sucks, and that's what's disappointing. And I know I'm going to be disappointed by this art because I know a lot of people don't have that knowledge or didn't read Amazing Mary Jane or don't really recall. I know a lot of readers don't read books every day, recalling what happened 25 issues ago, or if you're on issue 70, recalling what happened in issue 15. And if you're writing like that, expecting readers to get it, you shouldn't be writing the book.
Nope. John, so, I kind of agree with you, man, but Batman has actually been decent, especially if you're reading the main Batman title, which has been good. Detective Comics started out great. I don't know what happened. And then Batman the Detective is one of DC's best stories, in my opinion, right now. But with Spider-Man, yeah, you're kind of right on that one.
Yeah, Spider-Man is just there. Batman is decent. I would say Batman is the titles. My problem with the Batman titles is they're so inconsistent. Like when the main Batman book is good, Detective Comics is kind of at a shortcoming, which it has been the past few issues. Batman Reptilian will read much better in trade with the paint that Liam Sharp is doing. If they give it that what is it? What was that book? What was it? Batman Damned type feeling, type size and format. I think that would be a better book. And the Detective is a mini series. So when that's over, great.
But yeah, DC is definitely highlighting some of their other. They're highlighting Nightwing. They're like the Flash has gotten better. Action Comics has been great.
Right. You were really and of course, right. And testament to what you're saying. If you guys are disappointed with a character that you do enjoy reading, go back and read older stuff, you know,
for sure.
And you can really gain more knowledge that way and gain more of a working knowledge for what writers are going to be doing in the future because they have to talk about stuff that happened prior. So, if you don't like what Tynion is doing with Batman right now, which is understandable, or you don't like what anyone's doing with Batman right now, Grant Morrison wrote a fantastic Batman run. That's great. You know, you can walk into any LCS and pick up a good Batman book. You can walk into any LCS and pick up a classic Spider-Man story. They're always there.
Yeah, for sure.
Or you can go dollar bin diving, and there are great books that just get lost, like your annuals, like your Spider-Man annuals in the 80s.
Yeah, you got your annuals. Honestly, if you feel like it's like I want to put this big run together in singles and read it. Pretty much all of Nightfall is in dollar bins.
Right. All of Nightfalls. All of Legend of the Dark Knight is there, and that was a great run. But also, I do want to give a quick shout out to Jen and Mars and their show Casually Comics, which is every Sunday. I like, they obviously came before us, but if you like this kind of a format where you just have a loose conversation about books you read, definitely check them out. Yes, they're a lot more vulgar than us, and they talk about more personal topics in books, I guess, and more like it's ridiculous. It's fun. It's a great show. And they also have great knowledge. So their links are in the description below. So make sure you guys are around on Sunday and dedicate your time to watching that as well. Legend of the Dark Knight, the series that's going on right now, definitely was carried to have a strong future. One day, management will realize they did. Yeah, once Marvel finalizes their deal with Sony, you'll have a good Spider-Man book. Hot take.
I feel like Marvel has been, with the exception that their flagship book has been lackluster, they have been very diverse in what has been good.
Right.
X-Men has been great. Thor has been great. The entire Star Wars line has been decent at worst.
Right.
You got Moon Knight coming up, which Jed McKay is a super talented writer. And I'm really excited
that book
to see
is
what he
coming
does
out.
next week.
I forgot the book was coming out at first. But let's wrap up these books.
I do have one more I'd like to touch on.
You do have one more book. I have like 3, 4, 5.
All right, I'll make this one quick then. But if you're looking for a Marvel event that you should read and enjoy, War of the Bounty Hunters. Yeah. Issue 1 was fantastic. Issue 2, if you're missing the Hellfire Gala, read War of the Bounty Hunters issue 2. The entire thing takes place in an auction. They're auctioning off Han Solo. That's been this whole thing that's been going on in the past few tie-ins. And we found out at the end of issue 1 that the leader of this new Crimson Dawn organization that's returned is Kira from Solo.
Yes.
Which I personally enjoyed Kira's character in Solo. I mean, I thought she was just going to be a one-off, so of course she's not one of my favorites, but I really like how they're using her here. I want to know what happened, though, because she is the one auctioning off Carbonite Han Solo.
Maybe there's a mini-series that we might get, or maybe, what's his name? Maybe, what Jon Favreau and Dan, or what's his name?
Yeah. Dan,
Flavioni.
Dave Filoni.
Flavioni. I knew it was something that rhymed with like ravioli. Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni.
I know they're gonna put together their little tie-ins that they always are known for. And if you're watching the Bad Batch, it's no secret that Dave Filoni is really mixing and matching the universe of Star Wars and making it one cohesive thing.
I want to know what happened to make Kira dislike Han so much, because at the end of Solo, they were still on somewhat good terms.
Hey man, chicks be crazy, man.
Oh shoot,
chicks be crazy.
Basically, you've got Dr. Aphra and Sana there. You've got Boba Fett, of course, is there because this is Boba Fett's book. You've got the Hutts there. You've got a bunch of these other smuggler and crime syndicates, and the Empire's there.
Right.
And so everybody's bidding on Han Solo, and we see here how Jabba got Han in the first place.
Right.
Which I thought was a super interesting nod, but it was very much a more chill issue. You know, everybody is just kind of showing up, figuring out their game plan at this auction. And at the end, after Jabba wins Han, somebody shows up.
Oh, is it Dr. Aphra or is it? Oh,
I'm just going to say somebody shows up and all he needed was one page.
Oh, I know who it is. I can guess who it is. Ah, that's cool.
Go ahead and guess who it is. Because
it was Darth Vader, right?
Yes.
Ah, I knew it. When you said
that's the thing with this book. This story just fills in the gaps. So if you're worried about spoilers, well then don't watch Return of the Jedi. Like, A lot of this is just filling in the gap. But yes,
I knew it.
Darth Vader shows up, and of course his book's coming out next week, so we're gonna get ramifications for that.
Oh,
Like with War of the Bounty Hunters #3. I think this month we're gonna get like a one shot too. They're starting their one shots.
Their Jabba the Hutt one shot.
Yeah, the Jabba the Hutt one shot comes out next week too.
So we're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about with that.
Star Wars comics right now
are so good.
They're just so good. Like I can sit here and fanboy about this. Like even Dr. Aphra, like Bounty Hunters can be a struggle to get through sometimes. But even the Dr. Aphra book, I have been really enjoying. And every time like Darth Vader comes out, every time Star Wars comes out, that is one of, if not the first book that I read that day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mr.
guys,
Brandon and his special guest. The special guest is my co-host Bryce, who is here every Friday with me, Weekly Rab. He is the better half of Comics Kings.
The less opinionated half, if nothing else.
He's the calm half of Comics Kings. Or he's like the calm third of Comics Kings. I feel like Ryan is like I feel like Ryan is more of like the the Ghost Rider. I feel like Ryan is a Ghost Rider of Comics Kings.
It's the id, ego, and super ego.
Yeah, that's exactly what we are. Perfect.
I'm probably the id, like more like the id.
But
I did not read
new Kirkman and Otley story. Didn't that come out in the Skybound #1 or the Skybound issue?
X, yeah.
I didn't read it. I just don't care to pick it up. I know a lot of people do, but I never read The Walking Dead. And
yeah, I haven't either.
I read Invincible, not spending $5 for an Invincible book that I love. I don't want more Invincible. I just want Invincible to be its own thing, and I don't want Invincible to ever be touched ever again. Sorry.
I mean,
what's up, Rudy?
I can see that, but I'm gonna pick up the what is it? The issue 5 that introduces his new book Code.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. I want
Stealth
Stealth to show up in a Skybound X book because I think Stealth is a great character that no one talks about. Read Stealth. It was created by Robert Kirkman and Mark Silvestri, but it's written by Mike Costa, and art is Belagarde, but it was great. I was reading it for a while. I do want to point our attentions to Joker #5 was a letdown this week. It wasn't really a Tynion book because it was more of a Matthew Rosenberg book. It's weird because in the credits at the end, they put Matthew Rosenberg's name on top. They're like, oh yeah, if you hated this issue, Matt Rosenberg. But I didn't like the book. It was just more...
I didn't do this, I promise.
Yeah, it was art by Francesco Francavilla, who's a great writer. The coloring was fine. It's just a story about...
It's not Gillian March's issue?
No. Gillian March is a periodic guest appearance by Francesco Francavilla, sorry. But this is like a year 1S story, and it's featuring Jim Gordon. It is the Jim Gordon book, and one of his first encounters and moments with Joker that we already knew about. So if you just want another moment with Joker and Jim Gordon, when Jim Gordon's beard and mustache was not gray, and when Jim Gordon was talking to Harvey Bullock, this is for you. It takes place mainly in Arkham Asylum. So if you like more of a Gotham Central-esque book where Jim Gordon is young and Joker is looking like the dude from Gotham in like Gotham Season 2 or whatever, then read this when they're both in their drinking days. If not, Jim Gordon is still in his drinking days, very much needed for him. This issue was
like Harley Quinn animated series level of Gordon drinking, or...
No, it's more like Gordon is stubborn and stupid and trying to figure everything out because he's still in his prime and he's still learning. But he's very witty in his adventures. But there's that. And there's like this twist at the end that you saw coming. I think that I like how Matthew Rosenberg's career is really getting going in DC. There's a lot of work coming up that I'm excited for. That is in the solicitations. But this issue was not it for me. I think this issue was rushed. It was like, this could have easily been an annual. This could have been an annual. I don't know. For the price tag of this book, no thanks.
How much is that book right now?
It's a $6 book.
Just for the regular issues?
The B cover $7.
Because I know, okay, like Flash Annual was on my poll. I haven't read it yet, but it was $6, but it was an annual.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like annuals being $6. I don't like it. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
Yeah, make your money. Make your money where it counts.
That being $6,
yeah,
just unreal.
I mean, Joker has been up and down for me personally. I know a lot of people have liked it, but at first it was like, oh, we're doing this whole Killing Joke thing. Do the eyes of Jim Gordon now, kind of reverse, and we're going back to that memory because that's apparently the biggest memory that we can retcon. But now they're saying, oh, but here's this other tale that was predecessing that or before that, many years before that.
Unless you want to completely redo, like, I don't know.
Yeah, and
Death of the Family or something like.
And I feel like Tynion is raising the stakes of this book, and right now it's not paying off, especially in that issue. But again, this was headed by Matt Rosenberg, so it also had like a lot different language. It didn't have like that Tynion flow that we're used to in this Joker book. It was very shifty, so it kind of threw me off reading it. Because I thought going in it was going to be like it was more like Tynion and Rosenberg helping with the story, not like, okay, Rosenberg's here, but Tynion's just pointing the direction, saying, okay, at these points. But yeah, no bueno, no good. No good issue. There are better Joker stories out there. There are better Jim Gordon stories, for the record, out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotham Central. If you want a better story with Jim Gordon, Gotham Central was great. But yeah, that was that. You finish your book, so I'll quickly run through the list of stuff that I also picked up. Infinite Frontier, Infinite Frontier is kind of cool. It's written by Josh Williamson with a plethora of other artists, which kind of felt a little bit mushy for a regular-sized comic book. I don't understand why you needed 3 different artists to tell a tale of everything going on. It shifted from Paul Pleater to Norman Rampund to Zermanico, but there was that, and then this other guy was in there as well. Jesus Marino. So 4 different artists. Dang, the hell! But yeah, and it was so weird because like everyone, so the public eye, everyday people, you and I, we understand that there are different multiverses now, that there are shit is happening.
Yeah.
Everywhere else, so everyone's like going to Twitter about it, and that's cool. Understanding that the people know, so they're asking questions and they're getting their answers ever so shortly because no one really knows what's going on following death metal. We're getting more answer. We're seeing someone coming in who's going to be a big X factor. That's Captain Atom, but there's a big there's something happens at the end with Captain Atom that I'm not going to spoil because again, go read it. And we're the plot of Darkseid is coming into tail, especially with Roy Harper becoming the Black Lantern in the previous issue. So Roy is definitely kind of going through it right now and trying to figure out what his role is, but then he just keeps hearing Darkseid in the back of his brain because Darkseid and the Black Lantern ring kind of have that connection. So there's a lot of working parts in this book, and what Williamson was really good at in his Flash is his book was kind of able to breathe, but also some issues of his Flash run were very fast paced for a Flash book. Not trying to like say a Flash book shouldn't be fast paced, but it felt like some parts could have been had room to breathe, and I feel like this book definitely needed that. I feel like it needed like more time for people to understand what's going on, because again, if you haven't read Death Metal and you're reading DC for the first time, I have a strong feeling you're not going to understand what the hell they're trying to do here. But
honestly, though, with something like this where you're trying to really build up the Omniverse and just kind of like 6 issues isn't enough. It needs to be at least 8.
Yeah. And
especially if you're going to have a writer like Williamson doing it.
Right. And I've been saying this from the get-go. Joshua Williamson is a character-driven writer. I don't think he's a very good event-driven writer. There's a big difference. And I don't think Joshua Williamson is that answer for DC right now. I really don't. I love his Flash. I love him as a writer. I love him doing characters that need attention. Barry needs attention. Robin is fantastic. But then you go to a book like this, and there's so many working parts. Joshua Williamson I feel like is having a very hard time pacing out this story.
Yeah.
And the characters that he's bringing in. And And the art just didn't do it any favors because it didn't. The way the panels are working in this, some were very easy to follow, but others, like the dynamic of it was weird. There are a lot of big character reveals from other Earths crossing over, so I feel like that in and of itself is hard to digest for readers. So this book was definitely very complex. If you want to digest it, it's very doable, but you're not going to get it your first read. I have a strong feeling you're not going to get it, and it just needed room to breathe. The art was fine. It was just very messy and it didn't complement each other. The artists did not bounce off each other very well.
I do like the direction they're taking with having Roy Harper sort of being the, I don't know, like the central figure. I think a character like Roy needs that.
Right.
Because he's been getting screwed over for a long time.
Right.
But that's just me. I like seeing characters come back into the spotlight that have been shafted for a while.
100%. And then I just have a few more books. Justly Glass Ride, Chip Zdarsky, Manuel Mendoza. Great book. A lot of moments on Apocalypse. On Apocalypse. And we're dealing with that. The Green Lantern, not the core, but like the council that's there. I don't want to say the Master Universe. It sounds like He-Man level, but basically like the Council of the Universe, the world leaders, right? They want Lobo, but the Justice League doesn't want them to get Lobo because Darkseid will kill them all. So they're on Apocalypse, so Darkseid can't get there. Meanwhile, everyone on Earth is dealing with Darkseid, like your Nightwing, your Cyborg, everyone else who's not there. Jessica Cruz is basically covering Hal Jordan, which is great. And you just get a lot of good character moments sitting around the campfire, especially because in this story, the Justice League is disbanded. Because the last issue was such a dud in the fact that it was like a 2-minute read, not even. That's the only reason why I say it was a dud is because it was so fast paced. It was like over. I'm like, I wanted more. But this had a lot of room to breathe and had a lot of good working parts with character dynamics. So I really, really enjoyed that in particular. Essentially, like Chip Zdarsky had a lot of good lines in there, and he understands how these characters should work together. And I enjoyed it. So check it out. A lot of good stuff. Another Chip Zdarsky book to come out this week, Spider-Man Spider Shadow by Zdarsky and Pascal Ferry. This book did get extended, so this book does have more room to breathe. Peter Parker trying to make amends for kind of what he did or what he consumed, which is a symbiote. And the symbiote has taken over the Fantastic Four. Nothing new. It's great. The art's fantastic. So if you're reading Spider Shadow, it's more of the same stuff. It's bonkers. And it's just everything's going wrong for Peter Parker. So it's like a classic Spider-Man book, but in a what-if universe.
Everything you can want from a what-if comic, too.
Yeah, so Chip Zdarsky has definitely been one of the forefronting writers of today's comic books. So it's a household name. I don't need to tell you how great Chip Zdarsky is. I feel like if you're not on Chip Zdarsky right now, you're just not reading comics. I feel like most people, 90% of the comic book world are reading at least one Zdarsky book.
Yeah.
And again, if you're trade rating this, that's totally understandable as well. I think this will read just fine in trade. But I also feel like picking it up each issue is such a thriller. I would say go back and check and see if your LCS has any second printings of the first one and maybe work your way through. Yeah, so there's that. I do love this question, and we will get to it in just a few minutes. I still have two more points to get through.
I have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, because that's definitely something that we are going to unpack when we do discuss Wonder Woman. So hang tight for around 5 or 7
Black Widow.
But what'd I say?
Wonder Woman.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at Wonder Woman right now. We're going to talk about Wonder Woman next. Wonder Woman.
One thing I will say, spoilers for Black Widow, in case you need a warning.
Yes, it is a spoiler review. Actually, I have 2 books to talk about.
All right,
one of which is Double Walker, which is by Michael Conrad. Art is by Noah Bailey. This is a Comixology exclusive. So if you have the Comixology app, definitely check this book out. It is everything you want genre-wise. It has horror, humor. It is very emotional. And it's dealing with death and a lot of family moments attending to that death and a lot of relationships in a small town. So if you kind of like God Country, but a little bit darker themed, this very much feels like that. But it's also very cartoony. So I don't say it's like magnifying Jeff Shaw's art, if that's like the right word to say. I think it is, but it's its own style. I'm not familiar with Noah Bailey at all, but I'm very familiar with Michael Conrad. He's a very good friend of the show. Him and Becky both. And yeah, so definitely go check that out if you have the time. I will be talking about that further. I'm going to spotlight this on Instagram soon, so I will be putting that out to the world.
For
yeah,
sure.
so
I'll
that's
probably
cool.
do the same once I get to read it.
Yeah, so we'll both kind of put up our separate reviews, and it'll be like one cohesive thing when it gets shared, maybe. Cool. But we got Alonzo, Team Nerd Herd. What's going on, Alonzo? What's going on, brother? Are we talking new comic books? You missed the whole discussion. We are going to get to Black Widow in just a few moments, so hang tight, hang tight. We got Wonder Woman 775, Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad, Andy McDonald. His art is a little bit of a transition from Travis Moore's, but we are dealing with a lot of topics in Norse mythology that I was introduced to this side. I think I have a very good working knowledge of Norse mythology, but this expanded it and introduced me to new topics in it, which I thought was really cool. We're dealing with Dead Man plays a big role in this. Also, we're dealing with the Graveyard of the Gods, and Wonder Woman is figuring everything out. And it's just continuing her adventure, which is great. And this is a very great Wonder Woman book for you to pick up if you're new to the character, which we've been discussing this whole time.
For sure.
It's a learning experience as well for those of you who kind of like that Olympian mythos, like, because it's very much a magical book, like magical, and not like magical, like, oh my gosh, like Disney, but magical as in like the genre, fantasy, but with like Norse mythology as well. So I guess they're coinciding together. Greek mythology, Norse mythology, and Wonder Woman and magic. So you have a lot of genres, and that's been a theme in this book. You're getting a lot of Ratatosk, who's just a cool character. Who doesn't love Ratatosk? The art does shift a little bit, like the colors shift and they get really, really bright, and it hurt my eyes a little bit personally, but it was a good hurt because it was like Wonder Woman is now like coming out of the Graveyard of the Gods. So obviously it's not going to be freaking dark, but like a funeral, but boom, yeah, exactly. If you're watching the show, have fun, do what you gotta do. Drinking, hanging out, but those are the books that I read this week. I already talked about Justice League Last Ride. Other books that I picked up that I have not gotten to: Aliens, Detective Comics. I haven't gotten to Thor or Bounty Hunters or Batman the Detective or Action Comics. Wow, I have a lot. I have like 10 books.
I still have a couple of the Bounty Hunters tie-ins to read. I knew I'd want to talk about the main book, so I sped through that one. Yeah.
But yeah, let's get to the main event. Let's talk about Black Widow. This is a spoiler conversation for everybody, so we're warning you now. If you haven't seen it, get out, unless you really want to know what happens. But also, if you do leave,
I will never forgive either of us for covering up Scarlett Johansson.
I mean, we can change that. Look, there's her. Oh wait, never mind. Then now we can't see her. But you saw it for like a split second. I tried to do something, it just didn't work. But
you made it worse.
This was a great introduction to kind of the question that we can talk about. But what's going on, Rod? Rod, you're in here. My highlights you in just a minute, brother. Rod the Regan. But what were your thoughts on Taskmaster's portrayal in Black Widow? I know in the comics, the second character, was a female. I know like the Taskmaster had another role later on in Marvel Comics, but. And it was a female role, so Marvel decided to take that route with it. Bryce, I'll let you bounce it to you first.
Okay, so I'm not very well versed in Taskmaster as a character. However, with what they did with it, which we've already given the spoiler warning, so I'm going to just go ahead and start now. The person in the Taskmaster suit is the daughter of the main villain of the movie, which is the leader of the Red Room. I do not think, now that I'm not saying that the daughter character wasn't a good character, but you don't use an iconic character like Taskmaster for that.
Right.
That's where my main complaint was with that is now you've used Taskmaster in the MCU and you've not used Taskmaster. You use the mantle to create your own character. And a lot of times I have an issue with that. But I mean, overall, the Taskmaster action was something that I liked.
Did I just lag like crazy?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Team Nerd or what? Shoot, I forget what's his name?
Alonzo.
Alonzo, yeah. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to do that, just create your own character.
Yeah. Yeah, they did that. They definitely spun it that way. We all did want the George Perez Taskmaster. I kind of feel like we got head nods that it wasn't going to be what we wanted, especially because Marvel is in such a technological age and they're like doing some crazy bombastic effects to where they can kind of get away with it. But for Taskmaster, it didn't work, making it a mech suit, almost kind of like a Darth Vader-esque thing, just modern day.
Yeah.
But in agreement, yeah, I think we all wanted that, but it's all about how much of that did you let it affect the movie itself? Because to me, I would have liked to see Taskmaster be a long-standing kind of character. I think Taskmaster would be good in some stories. I think it would be good in some TV shows, but we're not going to get that anymore, which is a shame. There is a missed opportunity, but at the end of the day, is it necessary? And the answer to that is no.
No.
Taskmaster is not necessary. Is Taskmaster a cool character? Yeah. I think my biggest disappointment was the fact that we had a Taskmaster series that literally just ended and just came out in trade the same week Black Widow came out, and it was the male version, the one we all wanted. So I was like expecting that to happen.
The thing with Taskmaster too, kind of like this whole movie in general. This whole movie belonged in Phase 2.
But
it did.
But yeah,
it should have been in Phase 2. Taskmaster would have been great as a long-standing villain to use in Phase 2. He could have honestly, like, Phase 1, Phase 2, but with the direction that the MCU is going now, which is basically all cosmic and all multiversal.
Yeah, but this movie, I really enjoy this movie.
Oh, yeah,
I thought this movie was very badass. I know Taskmaster was a letdown, but if you look at it this way, we all love Taskmaster because Taskmaster's there, but even in the comics, let me put you this way. You don't think about, oh, Taskmaster until he shows up. You're like, oh, dope, right? So if they use another villain or use another character and made that the daughter of the guy for the Red Room, no one would have thought twice about it, because no one looks at Taskmaster as he's a necessary character in the Marvel universe. He when he comes in? Yeah, then the thought is there because Taskmaster is in your presence, he's on your page. But yeah, even if like Taskmaster wasn't teased in the movie, we would not have had a Taskmaster series, and no one would have thought twice about this character being absent from comics for so many years. If he made a cameo appearance in, let's say, a Captain America book or a Strike Force book or some nitty-gritty book that no one's picking up and will be a $1 book, no one's going to think twice about it. It's like, oh, dope, Taskmaster.
Or even like he could have been in Spider-Man for an issue.
Right, yeah, but no one's going to ultimately buy the book because of Taskmaster. No one was going to watch the movie because of Taskmaster. So I don't think Taskmaster was a working part of the movie that played into my enjoyment. It was just, it didn't rank higher. I have like a raw list, like here's like my top 3. Everything else is there. But it would have been a top 3 movie for me if Taskmaster wasn't such a disappointment.
Yeah.
But it didn't take it away from it being in the top 5 for me, or a movie that I would definitely watch again. But I want to catch up with the chat. Rod saying Deadpool from back then in X-Men Origins, Taskmaster now. I see what you're saying.
I don't
Bobby still liked the movie.
Taskmaster to that degree.
Yeah, Bobby liked the movie. In a few years, her son will be the real Taskmaster, but they can't have kids. They can't have kids? I'm not a fan of Black Widow. That's okay. I mean, everyone has their own opinion, at the end of the day. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I cannot agree more with you. The whole reason he wears the mask is so no one knows his identity. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the unmasking, I think, was stupid. It was just to say, hey, it's a female. But yes, this movie was all about females, but that was a very underlying topic that Marvel didn't exactly come out and say.
I don't think that's the reason that was the
There's definitely a very the Taskmaster fight choreography was brilliant. I agree. Yeah, the comic relief of that.
Like
a new Taskmaster series came out. The writer was Dennis Hay. The artist was Alejandro Vitti. He also did Secret Warriors with Hickman, so I was like double reading video at the same time. I was like, that's dope. It's in trade right now, so I'm gonna be picking up that trade when I go back to my LCS because I want to throw that out as a review, for you guys. I think that'll be a very good book to talk about, and it was definitely very involving with the rest of the Marvel universe. That but you don't have to call me Mr. Brandon. You don't have to call me that.
No,
I appreciate it. But I'm just.
No, I do prefer Mr. Guy Gardner.
Mr. Potato Head to you, sir. But there was go for it, Bryce. Go for it.
This movie definitely, like, to piggyback on the fight choreography real quick. The shield stuff that really showed how much Taskmaster had studied. I saw Captain America in Taskmaster. Right. I saw his fighting ability, which I thought that was great. But this movie overall just made me appreciate Black Widow more.
Yes.
To the point where, and I'm just going to go ahead and say the reason why I didn't get to as much as I would have liked to was because I stopped by Books A Million and grabbed this immediately after the movie.
Oh, that's the with Yelena Belanov. Yes. I'm reading that on Unlimited right now.
See, I like my first experience with a character to be in print, but if this goes well, I know of a lot more Black Widow that I can read, and it made me excited to check out the character in a way that I haven't been before.
Yes. I do like what Dank said, or not Dank, what Dank said. Echo is like a no-tech Taskmaster, especially during her days as Ronin in the New Avengers ever so shortly. Go check that out. But what was the thing? Yeah, so at the beginning of the movie, right? Obviously this was executively produced by Scarlett Johansson. Who this was her last role in the MCU. So farewell to her. I thank you for years of entertainment and lots of laughs, lots of badass scenes, and just looking at your beautiful face every time you're on my screen is a blessing anyway. And John, and you ever see this. Yeah, I know you're watching us. You're sub to the channel. You're our number one fan. Sure. We're your number one fans. Yeah, don't and you're ours. So
don't tell Chet. Okay, just don't tell Chet.
Yeah, don't tell our friend Chet. But yeah, this issue had a very underlying topic of human trafficking, which I thought in a Disney movie was so I don't want to say vulgar for them to say, but it was very Disney thing to do. Because no one thought twice about it, just like in Bambi, no one thought twice about like the whole abandoning of Bambi, or like in Fox and the Hound, where it's nature versus nurture, and it's like nurture will always win. But it's like Disney is known for being very much not kid friendly, but at the same time trying to talk about subjects in a kid friendly way, you know.
I would not call this movie kid. Like, I was watching the intro, and I don't know.
But human trafficking is a topic.
The first act of this movie felt like a James Bond movie almost. It felt like a James Bond revenge movie.
Maybe.
I hesitate to call it that, but I mean at the same time, like, I don't know. I say James Bond from the spy aspects, but it also felt like something that you wouldn't see in a PG-13 Marvel movie. Like, I feel like this movie could have taken one step further, especially in that first act, and been rated R.
Yeah.
Personally, it felt like a lot Bond movie. Humans should have died 20 times, but didn't. I mean, that's basically Black Widow in the MCU.
Yeah, basically. And Hawkeye too, but
And Hawkeye, yeah. But we're going to get to Hawkeye.
we are. I wouldn't go. I never thought of it as like, okay, this is like James Bond ish. This was definitely like a family focal movie as well, kind of like a reunification as well as and it was cool to see that Florence Pugh. I know her performance was not expected to be as good as it was, or it's been received. Even if you didn't like the movie, you liked Florence Pugh. She was gorgeous. She was badass, and
she was fantastic.
And I really like the scripting of this movie as well. I thought it was very thoughtful, and there's a lot of things that Black Widow achieved that no other like female led movie has been able to do lately. You look at Wonder Woman 84, you look at even Wonder Woman 1, and you look at Captain Marvel, and it's very much pushing that feminine agenda, right? Where it's over pushed in the plot. This didn't have that
The first Wonder Woman, I don't think did.
I think it did.
I don't think did. 84, kind of, but the first one I think was a nice.
I think it did. I don't know. I think it did, but this movie didn't have that all feminine push, but it achieved that by the end of it. That no other movie did. And it was great, as we were talking about earlier. The fight choreographies were great. And it introduced the Red Room in a way that even like, I feel like this movie understood the fact that not a lot of comic readers are diehard Black Widow fans.
Yeah.
I think that there are 3 runs off the top of my head that I've read of Black Widow. But
I mean, she's had a lot of miniseries that you can go check out. I mean,
the Wade, the Saska ones,
the Wade run, the Kelly Thompson run right now that's going on. I've heard really good.
Has there been a 3-year connection in your life that you can be ruined as like a real family 20 years later? Yeah, from my family personal experience, yes, that's happened. Just think about like being away from someone you grew up with, and then them coming back into your life, and they're better suited for it, and that they've changed,
And what you have to remember too is these, like, Natasha and Yelena were kids when this came out.
You're with your family your whole life. Yeah, but in with the Red Room and with their agenda and their affiliation with Hydra, what the Red Room is actually doing and the whole Soviet agenda, that wasn't the case. Not everyone has the privilege in real life to be with their family forever. Family doesn't always transit to being forever. Okay? That's the fact of life for some people.
But yeah, like Natasha and Yelena were kids when that was going on. So regardless of what happened, there's always going to be a sense of security that you have around things from your childhood, including people.
Right.
And so I think that's where that kind of came into play, and where they had been through so much together. And especially with Yelena, where Yelena was like, okay, that 3-year stint was the best part of my life. And I think that's where she kind of opened up a little bit, because she felt like she was reliving it.
Right. And I think that was like a major plot point of the movie, was Yelena being the one to bring everyone together. She was the more emotional kid because she was the one who really experienced, she had it easier, right? So everything was all sunshine and rainbows to her, Rocky, Sylvester Stallone, but
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, like Betrayal, but it didn't come off that way to her, though. Her character, she wasn't old enough to really understand as, like, Natasha's character was, in a way. So you kind of have to take that into consideration. I feel like a lot of times when people are watching these movies, they don't understand. Yeah, there's, like, a time limit. You can't achieve everything in like, 3-year span. You want to watch a movie, and she was also hypnotized. So, it's also a movie. So
they are adults now, but still, like, there's that sense of security that you cannot forget about. Like, we're most of us are adults now, and we're still connecting with things from our youth.
Right, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, Dank, that I want to address with you right now. Yeah, you feel the way you feel. I feel the way I feel about the movie. I enjoyed it, but this is also fiction, right? So it's you can't really say did this happen in real life because no one's dad is a freaking super soldier. I mean, maybe Dwayne if The Rock had kids, that's a different scenario. But but
Plus, if this were a Disney Plus series instead of a movie, you would have that time to
divulge into
really,
it and digest it
yeah, dive
more.
into it, digest it. So yes, I agree with you. It is an imperfection, but it is an imperfection that just comes along with being restricted to a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Yelena's character was unbeknownst to everything that Natasha's character went through. That's why she had so much resistance for her parents later on in life. That's why it took her longer to have the trust of her mother and father, because the whole movie she was struggling with that. Yelena's character never went through the same experience. So obviously, right, there's that whole what was it? It was like that Freudian theory, or what is it, Plato? It was one of these philosophers or these philosophers where when you're growing up, it's you relive the happy memories and you cling on to the happy memories. Right? I don't want to say this couldn't happen. Like you couldn't be lost from your family for 20 years and reconnect. Right? Exactly. I'm not going to say that because I'm not going to speak for anyone other than for anyone's personal stories because that's none of my business and it's insensitive for me to stand here or to sit here and say it's never going to happen. Everyone has their own family challenges to dive into, and this was Yelena's and this was Natasha's. And they were dealing it with two separate ways because they remember two different things simply because of their youth and how they were raised. They were raised differently. You're missing the removal
of organs is a whole other thing.
The removal of organs did not come into after they were already in the red room. Okay? Yeah. But I will say this, it wasn't necessarily their parents that removed their organs. Obviously, Natasha was older and was able to experience it and have that grief or kind of like that barrier because of that, but not necessarily Yelena's. At the end of the day, they stood up for what was right as a family and looked out for each other, and that's what made Natasha come around.
Plus, I think they were given to the red room. Oh man, okay. Natasha, I think, was given to the Red Room, or at least that organization, before she was with Red Guardian and his lady. I forget their names, but I'm not sure if Yelena was. I think they were given to the Red Room. Right. She just hasn't started her training yet.
Right, and to piggyback off of this is how trauma works. Here's the thing, right? For you and I, makes sense. Trauma, right? But in the Red Room, they experience how to not hold on to things, how not to let it get to them, because they're living weapons. They're murderers. They're supposed to kill people and not care. They're supposed to kill someone and not have the trauma of it, right? If I were in the Red Room, I'm supposed to, if I'm told to go kill this guy, I have to do it, and I can't feel anything. Right? This is the one thing this was the one thing that they could cling on to feel about. That's what made it so great. That's why they were able to overcome it, because that was the one time in their lives that they actually had freedom to feel the way that they wanted to, the way that they could control. Black Widow later on gained that control, but not Yelena. They were very traumatized in the film, but they are trained to deal with trauma differently than you and I would. Keep in mind, they're fictional humans. They're fictional humans who.
That was after they got their free will back too. They had not, like Yelena, especially, had not had her free will for the longest time, pretty much her entire life.
Right. So obviously, she's gonna go back to the time before where she had that same freedom. That's also like how like the mind works and the human brain connects itself to past memories. But fiction is designed to tell metaphors of real life to an extent.
Yeah, it's got to be
to an extent.
We were talking about War of the Bounty Hunters a little bit ago. I doubt Jabba the Hutt is a metaphor for anything.
What if Brandon was the first male Black Widow?
I would
I
not.
guess no more
I
protection.
would never want to
for-
see Brandon in any suit that tight.
I guess I wouldn't have to worry about protection anymore.
Never want to see him in any suit that tight. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
No more protection for this guy.
Acting sucks. You don't enjoy the film. I mean, the acting
was great. I loved it.
I mean, I thought it was great.
I thought it was very spot on.
Even Scarlett Johansson, I thought was solid. I thought Yelena definitely stole the show, and Florence Pugh is one of the best young actresses working today.
Oh yeah, she's probably gonna get an Emmy for that role simply because of her
Oscar.
Or an Oscar. I can't keep up with all these damn awards other than the freaking Eisners. Hell, even the freaking football awards. I can't.
Brandon's like, Florence Pugh's gonna get a Grammy for this.
Yeah, she will. But I
mean, yeah. At the end of the day, it is fiction.
At the end of the day, with a comic that I'm mad about, I can say it's fiction. I'm not gonna let it get to me, right? And I do have to accept what a comic does because it's there on the page and it's now in my collection. I paid for it. I have to deal with that some way, right? In a film especially, right? Yes, it's a human, but also Black Widow is a character designed not to feel the way you and I feel. Same thing with Florence Pugh. That's just a fact, right? So you can't put yourself in their shoes because you don't have the same feelings they do. You were not taught how to deal with trauma. You didn't kill 25 people in 2 seconds and not feel a damn thing. You didn't get tossed off a building. You didn't get shot. You didn't almost fall in love with Hawkeye. You didn't get rejected by Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
But that was like before. But it's not that they don't have feelings, that they deal with them differently. Because do their training into the Red Room. That's just how they were characterized, right? You can't say that. Oh yeah, this movie is not a good reflection of real life. Obviously not, because there is no floating station in the clouds.
Here's the thing.
Bobby.
This goes for movies. This goes for TV. This goes for comics. No piece of media that we consume, as much as we may like to think that it is at times because we love it so much, no piece of media that we consume is perfect. And that is because it is made by people, imperfect people.
Right. And Bobby, it is an argument. It is a good argument.
Not
Bobby, dang.
That do imperfect things. So, yeah. Would I have liked to see them take a little longer to get over it? Yes, but at the same time, I'm going to use a quote from The Office here. And it's going to be funny, the quote that I use if you've seen the episode because of the context. But one of the quotes there is, "A human beings have the ability to make any place home." And especially if that was your home at one point, it is so easy to fall back into that. If you had any sort of good relationship with them, it is so easy to fall back into that, especially if you're in a familiar environment, which makes sense because they were at the dinner table when they started joking around.
Right.
And the last place they were together as a family before anything went haywire was the dinner table.
Right. Well, here's the thing. I'm not a flipper. I don't flip my comic books.
Wait, what?
He's talking about
that's not what he's trying to say. He's trying to say like he can flip the argument around and use it to you for a comic that you don't like. But
obviously like it's a work of fiction. Yeah. Like ASM, I'm always disappointed, but we were talking about people who are professional and super soldiers that have all been augmented. And then when the opportunity to get Revenge Family went over. Exactly.
Thank you, Dominic Toretto.
Yeah, so, I mean, whether you liked it or not, whether you overanalyzed it or not, it's meant to be enjoyed. If you didn't enjoy it, I apologize that you didn't enjoy it. There will be other movies for you guys. Yeah, I'm not Spider-Man yet.
Not yet. That's the thing.
To your knowledge, I'm not Spider-Man. Give me a few business months. Thank you very much.
At the end of the day, there will be things that people enjoy, things that people don't enjoy. There will be, especially with franchises like the MCU and like and big long epics like comics. Love you, man. There will be times where more people enjoy this part of it, and then somebody else takes over and people will hate it. Like, a lot of people enjoyed Dan Slott's run on Spider-Man.
Yes, I'm one of them.
Do people think he overstayed his welcome sometimes? Yes. But
right.
More people enjoyed this than this. Now, there are people out there that probably love Nick Spencer's run but hated Dan Slott's. I guarantee you they're out.
Yeah, there are people out there. Like, there are people out there that okay, Scott Snyder's a great example, because some projects people go bonkers over, right?
Yeah.
Some projects people run the other direction from, but still clinging on to Court of Owls or Black Mirror. But
at the end of the day, that doesn't make their opinion.
Yeah, but the power of friendship did end World War II. Exactly, you know.
Hey, and that's the power of love.
You know, and this book was a very warm-hearted feeling, right?
Movie.
It was very warm-hearted feeling, a feeling that they gave us in this movie that was also badass and giving us closure for Black Widow. You know, as a character that we've seen on the screens for 10 plus years now, it is very safe to say that this was a great conclusion to her story. Now, the debate of whether or not it should have come out earlier, I don't care about. I could see it coming out earlier. This movie could have come out whenever it wanted to, but I feel like it was ever more touching being her last film after she died, so we were already affected by that. This is like giving us more of like a safer feeling, almost, I want to say, because her death affected a lot of us in the theaters. I remember I was crying. And it was my prom that night, and it was my prom, my senior prom. But
did you at least go to prom before you went and saw the movie?
Fuck no, we went out to dinner. I took her out to a very nice dinner.
So then where was the prom? Did you not go?
We dressed up in our prom outfits and went to go see Endgame.
I mean, hey, I can't judge. But yeah, Dank, listen, we're definitely sorry you didn't enjoy the movie. We both did. But I mean, hey, if you hated it for those reasons, that's perfectly valid.
It's valid. You know, it's understandable. Your way of thinking is very understandable, but I just don't agree with it. I'm going to quote Charles Barkley. You made very good points, but you're wrong.
Oh my God. No, I mean, I kind of agree with what he's trying to say, but it also.
I mean, your opinion wasn't negated. I never said you were wrong.
Oh yeah, and if we did,
then we apologize. You know, your opinion is valid, right? Everyone's opinion. If you're able to talk to me about something, with knowledge and education and valid points, and yes, then I will acknowledge. I do acknowledge everyone's opinion, right? But let's say I said this book sucked and I didn't read it, then obviously I'm not going to consider that an opinion or any like. I'm not going to give that opinion any relevance. But like yours raised a very great conversation, right? That we had, but
yeah, and I mean sometimes things we're passionate about, which us as comic fans, we get passionate about the MCU.
Very easily.
The conversations can definitely feel and get a little bit
tense.
We'll say over-enthusiastic.
Right.
And so, yeah, we were definitely not trying to negate your point at all. Yeah.
I think maybe it's so. Yeah, and obviously we're reading you, so we're not hearing you, but we're reading you. So I think that also is like something that's to play into it.
That is definitely fair. One of the things that gets lost in text is tone, and I could definitely kind of hear you like laughing a little bit when you were like, "But you're not Spider-Man." Like, obviously that's.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously I was joking back when I said "not yet" or "not to your knowledge."
Yeah. No, I mean,
but it's all love.
There's always going to be misunderstandings, man.
You know,
we appreciate you around.
You know, we do appreciate your interaction with the show. We appreciate everyone's interaction. You know, it always goes a long way. I remember my prom with Polaris. You were so funny, Bobby. Oh, that's why she was with me at the gala and not you.
But that is one. And on a second watch, Maybe I was just caught up in the fact that this is
Maybe.
the first MCU movie we've gotten in 2 years.
In 2 freaking years, but
maybe on
yeah.
second watch, which there will definitely be a second watch, I will see everything you're saying, and I will be DMing you on Instagram like, holy crap, you were right. I'm going to tell Brandon to delete this video. I don't want that getting out there.
This video. I thought we had a great discussion of comic books.
I'm
also,
kidding.
look who's in our background. She made her first appearance on the show.
Yeah, I'm kidding. But, yeah, like, it's just... movies have a tendency to... No, never do.
Yeah, this is... Dank has never been more on this channel. It's like...
All right, Dank. I hear you. I said what I said. I'll stick with that. But yeah, that's movies have a way of just sparking different emotions from different people.
Right.
It's one of the purest art forms in that sense that it is 100% subjective. Now, there are limitations to movies that you don't have in other media, which is why I prefer TV and comics a lot of times.
Right.
Because you get more time with these characters. But with something like the MCU, where you've had time with these characters over the course of years, and we're just now getting Black Widow's backstory, I feel like that was kind of a corner that Marvel backed themselves into. And that was the only kind of choice they had. I'm not saying it was right. I agree with you in the fact that it wasn't necessarily a good move to have them resolve everything in that amount of time, but it was sort of their own.
Yeah, but it was also like you needed that closure instead of leaving anything up for question, because also her contract did expire at the MCU and she didn't renew it. And also, like, as an actress, she needs to go on to do more films. You know, she's going to be in many more films, and yeah, you can't be the same role for over a span of like what MCU is 2007, 2008.
Iron Man came out in 2008. Black Widow
2008.
Appearance in Iron Man 2
and Iron Man 2. So you have a character that's been around for this long, right? Or a role
for Captain America or Thor,
right? So yeah, there's that, and it's always a business. So. Whatever she does do is she definitely has that experience now as Black Widow to further her career, and now she's even an executive producer. So, her and Margot is going to take a break from Harley Quinn. That may be for the better. I don't. It depends on how she is in Suicide Squad. There's something going on with that with Suicide Squad that's either rubbing me the wrong way or is making it weird because of the fact that they're giving John Cena the most attention of a character that no one cared about. No, the only reason why Peacemaker is relevant in today's society, in today's comics, is because of John Cena playing the role. Like, Peacemaker was never really in Suicide Squad, never really anyone's focus, but no. I would have much rather preferred a Deadshot series because that's actual lore with his daughter and his family, and Will Smith freaking playing him.
Will Smith crushed it.
Yeah, then John Cena. I would honestly prefer giving Will Smith a chance to make an ongoing show about it than giving Margot Robbie another Harley Quinn. Yes, the Harley Quinn show on HBO was so great.
Props to Margot Robbie though for playing the character the way she has so far.
Yes, it's just she got no support.
Her last portrayal as Harley Quinn. You know, I don't know. I feel like she's kind of done the thing where she's filmed other projects in between her roles as Harley Quinn. Right. Like if you think about it, you had the Suicide Squad, and then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out, and then Birds of Prey came out.
Right. And Josh, to your point, the Harley Quinn show on HBO is a fantastic masterpiece. Everyone needs to go see. Kaylee Cuoco did a great job. The dynamic between Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn was very well done. I also think Dr. Psycho
is my favorite character in that show.
Yeah, she was fantastic. I like Dr. Psycho. King Shark was great. Bane was just ridiculous, and it was just great. But I think that the Harley Quinn
killed me when he unmasked Batman.
Yes,
Joker killed me.
But that's definitely like something that I would definitely go back and rewatch like right now. If someone put it on, like if you sat me down and said, "Let's watch Harley Quinn animated series," just put it on. I'm like, yes, let's do it. But if you said let's put on Birds of Prey or anything Margot Robbie's doing Harley Quinn, I'm like, no, let's not. But that's also because she had no. But it's not her fault. It was because she had no support in the movie. Yeah, exactly. King Shark. Even just looking at him. Exactly. But yeah.
Oh man.
And also I do want to. I did talk about earlier about the different content I've been putting out. I am pretty new to TikTok. So if you guys are on TikTok, you want to give me a follow, do that. It's in the description below. Instagram, both of our links are there. Jen and Mars' channel on Sunday is going to be there. Jen and I are doing a crossover show on Tuesday. I'm going to be with John Romita Jr. on Wednesday. Next Tuesday, sorry, July 27th, I will be on with Kare Andrews for Amazing Fantasy that he's both writing and penciling, which I'm very excited for to have him on the show. And then James Tynan will be on sometime in August, TBA. And yeah, Brother Joe, great point. We do a great message. I couldn't say it any better. Dank, we love you to death, brother.
We love everybody. Value everybody's opinions.
I think we all wanted to see Stallone playing stupid. It's a guilty pleasure. Mine's all original. Yeah, I like Stallone in the Guardians of the Galaxy one-liner he had.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm like, you paid him all that money just to say that? Great. Good job.
I mean, it's Sylvester Stallone. You'll pay him whatever he asks.
But I was like, I enjoyed it.
Rocky Balboa wants to be in my movie. Yo, Adrian, guess what happened?
Or Anthony Hopkins wants to be in your movie. Just say yes.
Well, I mean, especially if he wants to play Odin.
Right?
Oh man, we were gonna review Black Widow and we got so far off track. Great movie though.
I think that makes for a great review though. I think it does because it created a lot of good conversations.
I do want to touch on the post-credit scene real quick.
Yes.
Real quick, I want to touch on the post-credit scene. So that takes place after Natasha's death. And we see Yelena visiting her grave, and we get Madam Hydra again.
Yeah, who's assembling the Thunderbolts.
We're getting the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, my whole thing with that is I think she's playing the Thunderbolt Ross role. I think Ross is actually not going to be Red Hulk because even if he does, right, that'll be coming in She-Hulk, but not anytime soon.
Yes,
I think you're going to see the Thunderbolts before, also because Ronan is a leading member of the Thunderbolts. If you go back to the Bagley run, also no one else cares for the other characters, even because everyone disregards Songbird for some reason.
In the post-credit scene, Madam Hydra basically tells Yelena that Clint Barton killed her sister, even though we know that's not true.
Well, she's playing with fire. And it's not going to work in her favor. Hydra is kind of working underground, but I think when they all put their heads together, that they're going to turn on her, and they're going to become the Thunderbolts and take down Hydra, or what? So
she's basically the Amanda Waller.
Yeah, but Amanda Waller's not evil. Amanda Waller's just stubborn, stupid, and unapologetically herself.
I don't know. I like to think of Amanda Waller as evil.
Stallone could play Cosmic Ghost Rider. I think he'd be able to play Punisher Thanos a lot better than he can play. Bryce has a red Cosmic Ghost Rider.
I'm not a Ghost Rider fan, but if it's Frank Castle, I'll give it a shot.
Oh, it's great.
But yeah, Dank, Elaine after Seinfeld, I love that.
But yeah, I think that wraps it up. You can catch live. If you guys are catching the replay, thank you so much for sticking around for 2 hours.
Oh yeah, seriously.
Yeah, and we also have a Thor review that we'll film sometime. But anyway,
yeah. I mean, schedules are all out of whack the past couple of weeks.
Right. Yeah. Right now, I think me having surgery is going to give me more time to sit down and actually reread it and be able to put together a good review. I'm going to be filming a lot over my recovery because I'm going to have the energy for it and the time now. But if you guys do want to tune into anything, I love you, Dank. If you guys do want to catch wind of everything, you can find me best posting announcements over on Instagram. And that's where I let you guys know everything. Other than that, it's just fun content on the side. John Romita Jr. coming on the show on Wednesday. So get hyped for that, guys. Get hyped for that. It's going to be fantastic.
Read or reread The Man Without Fear. Do it right now. Right now.
Yeah. John Romita Jr. Thank you all for tuning into the live chat. It was awesome having you guys here. Sparked a lot of great conversations. And you guys can catch us next week. This show again on Friday.
All right. Love you guys. See you later.
Be safe, everyone.